Hey guys, welcome back to Rusty Autoholic Garage. This is not Project Felicity. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, I want to do a little bit of a challenge. Now, we are still working on Project Felicity. It is taking longer than I originally estimated. It didn't help that I went, ooh, I can move the engine, and have to custom make everything else. True. Yep. So, here's the other problem. A lot of you have been asking me, how much does a diesel swap cost in a Wrangler? The problem with Project Felicity is I've done too many one-off things. I'm putting a doubler in it, added a lot of money, bought a CNC plasma cutting table so I could complete it, added a ton of money. And then the parts that I'm getting from Kubota swappers, I'm actually helping him prototype right now. So I know what he charged me, but I kind of don't, because a lot of that stuff I got in a bundle deal with like a whole bunch of other stuff that you haven't even seen yet for other projects. So even when I talk to Kubota swappers, he doesn't know how much he charged me for it. We just know the grand total. So the idea was get $5,000, buy a Jeep, and convert it to diesel. So we're going to have 3 different budgets listed. We're going to have the bare minimum budget, which was buy the Wrangler, and then all the parts needed to convert it to diesel. We're going to have a category called My Cost, which is all the parts I spend on this, but not including the stuff I already have at my shop. So like, I have a set of wheels and tires, I have oil, spark plugs, all that stuff. I don't have to buy it, so it's not coming out of the $5,000 budget. That's really kind of the main category I'm aiming against. And the final category we're calling Your Budget. So I'm going to price every single thing we put on this so you can see the total cost. So with that being said, let's convert it to a diesel.
No. Let's get it running first.
As a diesel?
No. As a gas job.
But it's a carburetor.
Well,
and what do I not only hate, but suck at when it comes to gasoline engines?
I think I know a guy that can work on carburetors.
Ronnie's back! Okay, so in all seriousness, $5,000 budget. We're going to put it right in between the two of us right here. We bought this from a guy. This has been kept in a storage unit for the last like 10 years. And it hasn't run in 10 years. So that's going to be part of the challenge. But, oh yeah, sorry. This is a 1990 Jeep YJ Wrangler. And I don't know if you can see it, but this is an Islander edition, which I actually really like. Now, the 1990s is a bit of a unique model. This was the last year of a carbureted Wrangler from Jeep. So, in trying to do the diesel swap, this is actually really nice because there's no computer. So we don't have to work around a computer, nothing. The gauges are just hooked straight to the sensor. So in a way, that's going to be easier. Also, this is not a manual transmission. This is a factory 3-speed automatic.
That's going to be interesting.
Yes. Don't know if I'm going to keep the 3-speed yet when I do the conversion, only because an AW4 4-speed automatic out of a Cherokee is so ridiculously cheap. Like, you go on Facebook Marketplace, Craigslist, anywhere. Heck, you even go to a junkyard. They're $100. And that overdrive, when it comes to a diesel swap, we might be doing it. Don't know yet. So,
but get some real world information on this one right now. Get it running. We're going to keep track of how much money we spend on all that. Plugs, wires, distributor cap, whatever we have to do there. And then get somebody to go through the carburetor, see if they will run, and check your timing and everything. And hopefully, we're going to try and do this in a small weekend.
Yeah, so the plan is try to get it running. It's Memorial Day weekend.
Yep.
It's a 3-day weekend. the idea is to get this running on the road. Now, if we can't get it running this weekend, this is going on the back burner. The focus is still Project Felicity. I want to get that done, but that has... It's not that we really have any hang-ups. It's just that is a very complicated swap. Yeah. With custom motor mounts, custom transmission mounts, all that jazz. The goal with this one... Yeah, well...
Spiders.
So, what we're planning on doing... we've already taken a little bit of a look underneath the hood, but we have not touched anything. We haven't done it. And there's already several problems. Now, I do want to say this. Hold on. Oh, I ripped the box. Set it on the hood. So, this stuff in this box does not count against the budget.
It was bought with the Jeep.
Right. This is what came with the Wrangler. So, and I love this. Haynes manual. It's wonderful. But it looks brand new. I mean, guy never used it. We have some air cleaner parts. Part of the nice thing is, there you go. We have a brand new carburetor rebuild kit. I actually was quite happy. These actually came with a Carter, and I don't know how to describe it. It's a 1 to 2 barrel. Like, it has one entry point, but it has 2 butterflies on the bottom. And it technically was kind of computer controlled. It was bad. Previous owner did upgrade this to a 2-barrel Weber. Those are supposed to run a lot better. We can see where this one has caught the paper air filter on fire. Part of that might be because someone... How did you describe the spark plug wires?
There is a wire that has not been wrapped around something. It has been knotted around something, lapping over itself. And that's one really big short.
The vacuum lines in it are
gone.
Shot, gone, and it seems overcomplicated.
Yes.
I could understand the vacuum lines with the original Carter carburetor. Not with the Weber. Weber didn't need them. But anyway, we're about to set up time-lapse. But the other thing I want to say is, if we get it running this weekend...
If we are going to get it running this weekend...
I love his enthusiasm!
I know where there's a sippy hole that this thing is going to go skinny dipping in.
I have... Okay! So much for my kid-friendly rating.
I didn't think I said anything bad.
No, but he has a lot more confidence. I traditionally have never liked carburetors. To outline that, I had a 1978 CJ5, and I hated the carburetor so much that I spent $1,000 to put EFI on it, and that was also a 4.2 liter. And that actually ran pretty darn good. Like, yeah, it did. The 4-barrel EFI was a little bit too big. If you're going to do EFI conversion on these, Phytech or Holly, they now sell a 2-barrel. Go with the 2-barrel. The 4-barrel is just way too big. But no, after we get this running, the idea is we're going to get some real-world numbers out of it. I want to have in-town fuel economy, highway fuel economy. I want to take this off-road and see how it does with the carburetor. Am I going to have a starvation problem? We're going to do a little bit of real-world tests, so when we do put a diesel engine in it, we'll have accurate results. So for now, budget was $5,000. We spent $2,500 on it, so bye-bye half the budget. But again, it was 2 owners before me, no rust, garage kept its entire life. You haven't seen it yet, but Ronnie just got here a couple hours ago. I told him on the phone the interior was mint. It is truly mint. Dashboard's not cracked. Seats are in fantastic shape. It's really dirty, but it just needs to be clean. Oh, mileage. This has 107,000 original miles.
Yeah, a little broken.
A little broken, but 107,000 miles for a 29-year-old car.
Yeah.
Also hasn't run in 10 years. So, but anyway, we're gonna set up time lapse, get this stuff figured out, and start trying to get this 4.2 liter running again. So, Ronnie's got the camera. We decided actually probably be a good idea to give you a tour of the Wrangler before we actually really start tearing into it. This scares me. But anyway, you can see decals kind of faded, but this is a Islander. I'm gonna come around him real quick. Now, stay right there. I thought these were the same size as a TJ. I am 6'5". Not a small guy. We might have to lower the seat slightly. But that being said, if you want to come over here, I'm not uncomfortable in it. Like, I actually have pretty good leg room. The steering wheel column is a tilt, but I actually like it all the way up. I just wish I was about 2 inches lower, but as you can see, everything's just really dusty. And so, but I mean, you can see it's 107,686.6 miles.
Maybe they'll see it.
Yeah, a lot more comes up on the camera than you would expect. And what makes this nice, this is actually a factory AC Wrangler. This was not standard, that was an option. But yeah, 3-speed automatic on the column, which I love. That's just old school truck style. The leaf springs are completely flat. And it does have Canyon wheels from a TJ. Those are not the original seats. They are Rugged Ridge seats. I'm convinced that's why it's so high. But we also do have the factory back seat. Again, dirty, but no rips, no tears. I'm actually convinced we could probably clean this up and get it looking nice.
I say some 409 and armor on, yeah.
Well, and I have a wet vac carpet cleaner.
Oh, for the it's cloth in the middle. I'm sorry, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, but it at one point did have a soft top, but it's missing a lot of parts. So I think we're just gonna pull this off. Because honestly, I've got a carport outside and I have the garage. This isn't necessarily ever going to be my daily driver, but when I have to work on the Liberty or that Wrangler's not running, I'll probably take this out just for like going to the post office, doing a quick grocery store run. This will be a good vehicle. I'm never really going to drive this in bad weather or cold weather or any weather where the carburetor will fail me. I don't like carburetors.
Thanks. He trusts me a lot.
No. It's
just a shot of the wheels.
Yeah, and the tires are all dry rotted. But I don't know. Here, let me get a light real quick. Well, you'll see it later. There really isn't a lot of rust. Like, there's one little spot there, which is more of a nick. That's actually, if you feel it, it's smooth.
Yeah.
It's not anything. But we figure we're gonna have to do brakes, basic tune-up, maybe do the oil. We're mostly worried about stuff being dry rotted.
Yep.
Yeah, so
rubber hoses,
yeah,
belts.
Anything like that. Oh yeah, let's show you the disaster that is this engine bay. So I've never seen a fuel filter that had 2 outlets, and that's cracked. So right off the get-go, oh, that feels horrible. You see that?
Yeah, we're gonna have to replace
we're gonna have to replace that. But I mean, it's vacuum everywhere. And here's my favorite part on this side. I had tried describing this to Ronnie. That is a spark plug, or spark plug wire, crisscrossed. And I've got nothing. So hey, why don't you tell them how we're going to approach this? Because I've never really done this before. I'm going to go ahead and say that. I've never tried getting a vehicle that has sat for 10 years running. So this is a brand new experience for me. So,
well, the first thing I want to do is I want to go in here and remove most of this. I want to pull the plugs out of it and spray it with WD-40 and start priming the cylinders to move. Then what I'll do is pull the cap off of it, find out where the rotary button should be pointing at top dead center, rotate the crankshaft around, and see if we're at top dead center on the crank up front and on the rotary button.
Do you want to take a look at the oil real quick and see what we're dealing with?
See what we're dealing with? I got a rag.
Right there.
Yeah.
As long as there's no coolant in it, we should be good.
No, it's dark, but it's not that bad. The only thing that I see on it that worries me is there's actual crud on the end of it all. See if
but I
we
mean,
get that again.
10 years of sitting.
Yeah, I'm hoping that it's not gotten crystallized oil in it.
Oh, so we might have to pull the oil pan.
Well, that might be just in what I'm scraping out of that tube right there, because
I
didn't get any back out of it. Yeah, it's crystallized oil on the tube itself. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We'll probably want to change the oil before we get into it too heavy. The main thing that I want to try and do with carburetor wise is go ahead and pull this off and then try and figure out exactly what we need on this Weber to have it running. I see these solenoids here, and I've dealt with those before on a different car. They switch in and out to put vacuum somewhere else or help the air pump that we don't have anymore, things like that. Most of that we can just unbolt and take away, because we're going to try and run it all with just that Weber carburetor.
So you think we could bypass most of this?
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff that's going to be in the wire loom and everything that it's just going to be hanging, because we can't really cut it out right at this time. But a lot of this can be removed and taken off, because it's...
Yeah, that's horrible.
Probably not doing much of anything.
Yeah.
I don't imagine that with the air pump gone out of it and a lot of this other stuff, I have a feeling what they've done is just hooked lines up until they had them all plugged into something.
Oh, lovely.
And then went from there. What I'd like to do is get rid of a lot of that and then give that carburetor exactly what it wants to see. A major vacuum for the brake booster and everything, a vacuum over to the distributor, vacuum to the intake itself, and that's pretty much so. A lot of what will be done is taking all the rest of it out. We may have to replace heater hoses. Some of them are feeling fair, some of them are not. Somebody put a flush kit in it. I don't really like leaving those in. Most of the time what happens is the cap itself, the seal underneath it gets hot, cracks, and you have a leak.
Oh, we can remove that.
Yep. Yeah, these will probably be what they had way back when as a diagnostic connectors.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, I've seen stuff like this on other, and as he's told you before, I'm more of a GM type person, but I've seen a lot of this stuff on imports and GM. They have extra. I cut my teeth on 4-cylinder Chevettes that had 2-barrel Hollies on them that had more wires than they had carburetor. So, and I would get them running and everything was fine. So I don't really see a problem with this one. Check the fluids and go from there.
Yeah. That looks very green.
Yeah, that looks great. And it's full. I have a feeling it's probably evaporated out of the tank by now. No, we got some sludge in it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, do a little bit of cleaning up on that. We'll check the voltage on this and see if there's any voltage in it and see if it's actually corroding the engine instead of being okay. The other things that we hadn't thought about is maybe a thermostat. If the water pump isn't leaking, we got to keep a really close eye on that, because as soon as we start spinning it,
it could just let go.
Seals could just let go on it and everything. So might ought to take somebody put a new belt on it and then didn't put any miles on it. That's crazy.
Well, that's money not out of the budget.
Yeah, that one, I mean, the way it looks fantastic. I mean, you can still read everything on it. And it does ride backwards on the water pump, so it should have spun it enough times to knock out off of it if it had done any miles at all.
Yeah, and it hasn't.
It hasn't.
Okay, so we're going to set up time lapse, and I guess we're going to just start attacking this. Okay, so we have an unfettered mess right now. But no, good news. We have spent zero money.
I know a lot of people are going to be cringing watching me prime the oil pump. But we were trying to use the starter, and I just don't think it was cranking over fast enough to keep it from cavitating. I have a feeling that the oil pump is completely dry. Oil filter, completely dry.
Yeah, because when we first pulled the dipstick, the oil was like, what, an inch above the full mark?
Yep.
And now we're admittedly right at full.
Yep.
So we have oil
everywhere in the motor. It's just an old trick that I use many times over. Do that and or put a socket down on it if it's a hex drive shaft.
Yeah. But yeah, I think we're gonna call it a night. We were making progress, and then Ronnie was like, "Hey, it's 9 o'clock," and I was like, "Really? Let's go to bed." But no, we'll pick this back up tomorrow. So what are the goals for tomorrow? Because I haven't even really talked to you about that yet.
We're gonna hear it fire in the morning.
You want to tell them how we're going to do that?
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat. I'm gonna stick the distributor cap back on it, plug some wires on it, and throw the old spark plugs, which are just brown.
Yeah, you want to explain that?
They're brown from being too rich. The carburetor, I think, was so bad off that it was just dumping gas into the engine, and the guy said it was backfiring and everything.
Oh, which we have. Was it this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
The secondary venturi on that thing is black as soot, and that's because it backfires it through it. I have a feeling what was happening, it was just dumping so much gas into it that the fire hit, and it hadn't burnt all the gas out of the cylinder by the time the intake valve had opened. It was horrible. But anyway, we're going to clean these plugs up and stick them back in and see if we can't make these work for a little bit longer. And I'm probably not going to have the carburetor on it, and I'm going to find me some brake parts cleaner around here.
Which we
got enough acetone and stuff in it. It should run off for 2-3 seconds.
Yeah, we just want to see.
I want to confirm that it has spark and the timing's about half right.
And compression, because
yes,
with just spark and timing, if we have no compression,
yeah, it won't run worth the darn at all.
Yeah, so we should hear at least go. Yeah. So,
and this is a trick that I use on two-stroke motors all the time. Spray a little bit in them to see if I can get a 1958 to run.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's gonna be it for this first video. I've already decided I'm really not gonna subtitle these right now because we're doing so much at once. Trying to subtitle it was gonna be a nightmare. Basically all we're trying to do is get a 10-year-old vehicle to run.
Yep.
And that'll let me post this stuff faster. Like, I'm about to post a video tonight, which is I did the brakes on my brother's Ford Escape. That was 2 weeks ago, and I've got another 3 or 4 videos I've got to put together and do the subtitles for. So I'm horribly behind, but I'm trying to get faster at it. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Leave a comment down below. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. If you have, as always, thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.